Hi everyone and welcome back to another Bork No Game video. Today's video is dedicated to the June Gacha game news, so let's go ahead and jump right into this. First things being, Punishing Gray Raven is going to be getting a expected release date of July 16, 2021 on the iOS App Store. Now when it comes to these dates, they're usually not accurate, but let's go ahead and show some gameplay footage. I'm sure you've seen the Punishing Gray Raven IP before, but when it comes to this, there is something known as the Punishing Virus, and you are a commander leading your waifus and husbandos to take down the Punishing Virus and I believe save humanity or save the world in some ways as best as you can. All of the waifus and husbandos look absolutely amazing. I can't wait to play this game. I like the variety. I like all the different attacks. I like the animations. There is everything going right for this game in my opinion. One of the biggest things is that this is actually not going to be published by any outside companies. This is getting published by the company itself. So the developers are actually going to be releasing this game. What does that mean? The monetization will probably be a lot more fair. It'll be very easy to give feedback because it's not being handled by publishers. There's no extra paperwork. We're also going to be getting a free S-rank hero in the forms of Harinina, Nanami, Pulse, Lee Entropy, Kamui Tenderbryon, and I can't say that, and Liv Luminance. Alright, so all these characters, we can get one of them for free, an S-rank character, or whichever rarity. This is going to be the highest rarity. And then there's going to be some pre-registration things that we can do here. 3D action RPG. Am I telling you anything new about the Punishing Gray Raven IP? Please just play it, pre-register. It's going to definitely be one of the better gacha games in July and just overall gacha news. Alright, next thing is being the Demon Slayer game. Gacha game going to be sort of hinted towards. This video was released in March 22nd, 2020. And just note, when it comes to this, I am just hyped that the Demon Slayer IP is coming to a phone near you. Whether it's going to be a gacha game is unknown yet, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be plenty of different heroes. As you can see, you can play either as the demons or the actual like protagonist, whether it's Kanjuro or Nezuko, whoever it is. I am hyped for all of the things coming to Demon Slayer because this IP is huge. It did record-breaking numbers when it came to the actual movie. I just can't wait for this game to actually come to us. Any sort of gameplay footage, any sort of announcement, I am at bated breath when it comes to Demon Slayer, because this has to be one of the most legendary IPs that has hit us when it comes to just overall anime. So the next things being is Echoes of Mana is going to be a gacha game or some sort of mobile game that was set to have some sort of announcement. This was like in June 27th, so this was fairly new information. Here's going to be some gameplay footage. If you're not sure what this is known from the Mana series. The Mana series is a classic action RPG. It's probably one of the grandfathers and known to be like one of the best action RPG classics that anyone can play. Extreme like replayability, and for it to actually come to mobile, it looks really nice. I feel like the animations look pretty decent overall. It's not really chibi. It's like a cross between like minor chibi in some ways, but it's not full-on chibi. This character, I believe, does not have like a gender of any sort, and they're supposed to be like this tiny. That's the thing that I wanted to say the most. So it's going to be a very clean looking game from what I can tell, and you can switch between the different characters that you're going to be bringing. There's going to be room for auto, semi-auto, manual play probably, as you can see with like the icons and stuff. And overall, the UI looks pretty slick, and I don't think anything can really go wrong with a game that has such a unique art style. All right, there's not very many games with this sort of art style, this sort of flair. Not to mention Square Enix is going to be publishing it, or if not developing it. This is going to be just one of those games that I definitely want to try. Now the next things is going to be Kanojo Kaokare Shimasu Heroine All-Stars, set to release at September 2021. Some of you might be wondering, why would I be hyped for this waifu collector? It's just because it has every single waifu from like every shonen series that you could possibly experience. So I feel like this is like the crossing void of like waifu collectors. I love all the different waifus that are here, whether it's from like the actual like Fire Force anime, Seven Deadly Sins, Fairy Tales, Rent a Girlfriend, all those different IPs that are pretty much all here. I cannot wait for them all to be pretty much released and played at September 2021. I think there's like some sort of like competition where you can get like a signed autograph or something, but for this to actually get an announcement, it came out of nowhere and I'm super hyped for it. Now the next things is also the solo leveling IP. This was was announced a little bit back, but there is a gacha game in works for it, or some sort of game by Netmarble. We all know how we feel about Netmarble. We're probably going to play this, and hopefully the monetization doesn't get a little too crazy. Now, the next thing is going to be Shaman King. Now, when it comes to this like sort of IP, I feel like everyone's sort of familiar with it if you are within like the younger or older brackets of anime and stuff. So it looks like to be a turn-based RPG from what I can tell. Very easygoing like aesthetics from what I can see, and everything about it, I just want to try it because it's Shaman King and I love the series growing up as a kid. And the biggest IP to get announced, well, biggest latest IP as far as like Demon Slayer. You could say that Demon Slayer is bigger than like Jujutsu Kaisen, but it's up to you. I'm not really here to fight that. I'm just happy that this is probably going to be getting a gacha game, and this was announced a little bit while back. Now, what's interesting about this is it's actually going to be published or developed at least by Sumzap. Now, the thing is with Sumzap, if you see here, they've made other games, specifically Konosuba Fantastic Days. So Jujutsu Kaisen will probably have some sort of aesthetic, in my opinion, that will look like Konosuba Fantastic Days. Let's go ahead and play some like footage from the Konosuba series, and I can already see in some ways that Jujutsu Kaisen will look something like this. Obviously nowhere near as colorful, the darker the palette, but I can just imagine like the characters sort of looking like this. And of course, Konosuba Fantastic Days, it's supposed to release sometime in 2021 as well, in case you're wondering. But I can see just the Jujutsu Kaisen like series sort of play out in this sort of animation. I think everything looks very high quality with this, and if I can see like any of the characters, like Gojo especially, like have like this level of animation, this level of polish, I'll be super hyped. But you also get to sort of see like how Konosuba Fantastic Days is going to be looking. Overall, everything looks clean. I don't see how there's nothing that you can really gripe about. It does have like that sort of feel where it's sort of chibi, but it's not chibi. But at the same time, I feel like it's gonna be okay. Something like this, like where it's a little bit more like mellowed out, not as like colorful as this series is known to be for. And they also did like animations for the actual attacks. This is like actual like animations for character attacks, so you can see here. So I just foresee like Jujutsu Kaisen looking something like this because it is going to be developed by Sumzap, and I don't think that can go wrong in any way because Jujutsu Kaisen, they're definitely going to be respected. This is one of the biggest IPs. Probably no release date yet for global, and this was announced like fairly recently, or you know, a couple months ago. At best, we'll probably see something in JP, you know, actually be playable within the coming years. I just wanted to put this on everyone's radar. And probably the biggest news for just people who like to play like Android apps on their phones or on their PC specifically is Windows 11 is going to be introducing Android apps on the Amazon store. Now, the reason why this is a big deal is because you don't have to use technically BlueStacks to play your games, and you could just run like whichever games from like the actual Amazon App Store provided to you via Windows 11. And there has been a lot of talk about being able to sideload apps. So that means you could essentially get the APK for Punishing Gray Raven, right? Put it into your Windows 11 like App Store sort of deal, and you'll be able to play Punishing Gray Raven natively on your PC without having to use emulators. For me, I am very hyped because Punishing Gray Raven, as much as I want to play it on mobile all the time, if I'm sitting at home and I can use a controller, I will definitely want to play a game such as magnificent as this, possibly on a controller, just so I can get a little bit more tactile feedback versus just my phone. So this announcement with Windows 11, I think it's a big deal. If you want to try this now, you can actually use your Chromebooks to run Android apps. There is going to be a couple of like Chromebooks that can play like all stuff or most stuff within the Google Play Store if you want to try that out. Just note that when it comes to this technology, you can't play like multiple like Android games at once. You can't multi-instance. Each game will essentially like hold one bar or one game at a time. So it's not like BlueStacks where you can re-roll like 5 instances at once. It's just the thing is this is going to be less resource intensive. Your games are going to be running a lot cleaner. There won't be as much lag when it comes to native experiences. Not to mention you can properly use your GPU or your graphics card when you are playing Android games with these like built-in processes, whether you're using a Chromebook or using Windows 11 in the future to play your Android or gacha games in general. But overall, I am so hyped for all of these games. Punishing Gray Raven set to release sometime in July, hopefully actually being, you know, published by the own developers. This is a rare thing to see. It's such a pleasure to see developers actually willing to take the risk and go all in on their IP. And there's been plenty of dev blogs for the Punishing Gray Raven group, and they've been so giving as far as like information, and they're ready to essentially work with the community to provide the best gaming experience possible. But here are going to be all the links for Jujutsu Kaisen, Solo Leveling, Kanojo, Okare Shimasu, Heroine All-Star, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Shaman King, Echoes of Mana, and then the other Demon Slayer IP. Just note that this one is going to be the action RPG, probably going to be on like PS5 and stuff, but this game looks clean. That's not a gacha game, but I just felt like I should leave it in there. But anyways, if you made it this far in today's video, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. Once we hit 25,000 subs, we're doing a giveaway. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you are hyped for all of the anime gacha games coming, and I will see you in the next one.